Hi, my name is Gary Eldridge and I'm an engineer in District 58, which is in Chase, Louisiana. Our district is comprised of 6 rural parishes, which are Caldwell, Franklin, Tensas, LaSalle, Catahoula, and Concordia Parish. Today I'm going to give a brief overview on rural roadway hazards and roadway flooding. First of all, what is a rural roadway? Rural roadways are low traffic volume roads located in forest and agricultural cropland settings that serve residential, recreational, and resource management uses. These rural roads may be curvy in hills with minimum sight distances or long straight sections through open agricultural fields. The majority of these rural roadways are 2-lane. There may have numerous intersecting driveways and turnouts, with some of them being hidden. The traffic on these rural roadways can range from slow-moving tractors and farm equipment to speeding trucks and cars. Rural roadways offer an ever-changing landscape according to the adjacent land use. You may think crashes are lower on rural roadways with these lower traffic volumes. The shocking fact is, according to the National Highway Safety Association, in 2017, over 37,000 people died in automobile accidents. Of those, nearly half, just over 15,500, died on rural accidents. Only 19% of the nation's population lives in rural areas, yet 46% of the fatalities are happening on these rural roadways. There's over 61,000 miles of roadway in Louisiana, and this includes both state and local owned. DOTD manages over 16,000 miles of roadway and 13,000 bridges. In the Chase District alone, we're responsible for 1,415 miles of roadway and 413 bridges. What are some of the potential hazards that we encounter on rural roadways? Well, I've already mentioned slow-moving traffic, mud or debris on the road from vehicles entering from the adjacent lands, hidden drives and turnouts, even wildlife and farm animals that may be in the roadway, water on the roadway, trees or limbs in the roadway after storms, thunderstorms or ice storms, ice on bridges of the roadways, and even pedestrians sharing the roadway where there are limited shoulders. A couple of major factors that cause crashes. Number one is excessive speed. As mentioned earlier, many rural roadways are curvy and wooded on both sides of the road, and if a motorist leaves the roadway at a high rate of speed, the risk of a severe crash is much higher. Second thing is inattentive or distracted drivers. Taking your eyes off the road to check a text increases your chance of being involved in a serious crash. Motorists must make a commitment to obey the speed limit, to not drive distracted, and to fasten our seat belts. Good driving habits do not just happen. Each of us have to practice to develop applicable driving skills to protect ourselves as well as other motorists and pedestrians. Second item I'm briefly going to touch on is flooding. Many rural roadways either cross or parallel canals, tributaries of creeks or streams, and sometimes the basin becomes full when we have bigger rains or we have backwater. Generally, roadway or flooding in general, it can either be classified as backwater flooding or flash or headwater flooding. Backwater flooding is usually attributed to a long-term event caused by the flooding of large areas when the receiving basin is full. This is more of a tranquil or ponding situation other than having strong flows. An example of this would be the annual flooding of the Mississippi River that causes the contributing streams such as the Ouachita River to flood as well. The second type of flooding, headwater or flash flooding, is associated with a large volume of rain occurring in a short time. As such, the runoff volume is too large for the basin to contain, and the conveyance structure that takes the water under the roadway cannot handle the flood, and it causes the water levels to rise over the roadway. Flash flooding usually results in fast running water that is capable of moving or washing vehicles from the roadway, as well as damaging the roadway and the drainage structures. According to FEMA, just 6 inches of water will reach the bottom of most passenger cars, causing loss of control or possible stalling. 1 foot of water will float many vehicles. 2 foot of rushing water will carry away most vehicles, including SUVs and pickups. I want to thank you for your time this morning. As we wrap up this segment, please take a look at a video that provides some additional information on flash flooding. Thank you.
Flash floods affect low-lying areas. Louisiana has an average rise of 100 feet above sea level, while its average drop is 1 to 2 feet below sea level. Much of South Louisiana is below or just above sea level, especially south of I-10. When you look at the map below, you can see how low South Louisiana is. The red areas are 0 to 5 feet above sea level, and the yellow areas are 15 to 20 feet above sea level. As water flows off the road to the drain will then lead to a pipe, which can sometimes lead to a ditch or a canal, which then will lead to possibly a creek, a river, or a lake. If those areas are also being inundated by the same flash flooding rainstorm, then what will happen is everything will begin to back up. Eventually, there is nowhere for the water to go until the rain stops and the water can drain or disperse. Low-lying areas, or those closest to sea level, will begin to receive the water from all the higher points around them. Add to this scenario, some areas that are closer to the Gulf of Mexico have to also deal with high tide. Additionally, they have to deal with winds that are blowing inland. These winds and high tide will also affect the area where the water is flowing. Now that area has higher levels of water, and the water trying to flow to those areas are going to be backed up. When a pump is involved, it's designed to handle a flow of water in normal conditions. When the conditions increase by 2, 3, 4, or possibly 10 times as much water, then the pump can only push so much water. And if it's trying to push that water into another area that is inundated, you can see where you'll have backups. That's why they call these flash floods. It's so much rain in a short period of time that normal conditions cannot handle the amount of water. The good news is flash floods don't happen all the time, and the infrastructure we have in place is designed to handle the normal amount of rain that we get. But in the event of a flash flood, the best thing to do is pay attention to your local weather report. Be prepared, and don't travel if you don't absolutely have to. And remember, turn around, don't drown. Thanks for watching.